The whole premise of the story is that due to climate change, the planet got hotter, ice melted, and everything began to die. To rectify that, scientists tried to cool the planet, but instead they froze her. Visionary billionaire Mr. Wilford created a great arc train named the Snowpiercer, 1001 cars long, that is about 16 kilometers long from the engine to the tail and housed 3,000 people, the last living survivors of the planet. It is self-sustaining. It has everything humanity needed to survive in the long run, like agriculture, poultry, an aquarium, school, spa, etc. The train perpetually encircles the frozen barren globe because if it stops, it has like a couple of minutes before it will freeze altogether with everything inside the cars. Okay? Cool. Awesome. So here are my top 5 favorite quotes from the post-apocalyptic science fiction show, and before everything else, number 1.
Resistance is never futile, but Wilford's train is a fortress to class. Maybe it is perpetual.
The show doesn't really tackle much on the science of how the Snowpiercer is maintained or what, but focuses more on the symbolism and metaphor to real-life issues. For one, it is about class struggle. Oldivans said these lines to Andre after a rather intense planning for the next revolution. We know the train is separated by class, the super rich first class on the forward part of the train. Next is a ticketed second class who hold certain positions, like Jinju, who is the head of agriculture, or Dr. Klim, who is like the warden of the drawers. The third class, who are non-paying passengers but who have the right to be on the train by contributing their labor and skills, like Mr. Paperman or Till, who works as the train police. And then there are the tailies, who are confined to the last car. They are the survivors who force their way onto the train. They live in subhuman conditions, stripped of their basic human rights, who have been revolting for better treatment since the beginning of the journey 7 years ago. Oldivan wanted to send a message not to get weary with the rebellion and the fight for their rights and the dignity as human beings, oppose and dismantle the class system, and that they deserve better treatment. Number 2.
Send a message to this entire train that justice is not reserved for the rich. There can be justice for all. For Nikki.
The line is from the testimony of Miss Audrey of the night car in the trial of LJ. The third classmen also struggle for this class division, and the night car is a pivotal setting for its stand against injustice against the first class, the false accusation against Nikki, and the death of 2 passengers from the third by the hands of the first, among other things. The train system inside Snowpiercer is also a metaphor for capitalism. The third do the jobs the first would not even dare to touch, just like in the real world. The ordinary working man is vital to the success and income of the rich capitalist. The third touches all the systems of the Snowpiercer, and without them the train would collapse and all would die. The night car is supposedly a neutral zone, Switzerland, but the testimony of Miss Audrey is a reflection of the deep-seated sufferings of the third. Number 3.
We have a duty to each other, and to the workers, and to the weakest among us. There's no future without it, Bess. You just have to decide what's right and wrong. Doesn't matter what the consequences are for you.
This was what Josie said to Brakeman Till right before she died to the freeze. Till's belief in the system had already been on shaky ground after their discovery of some questionable acts. This is critical for Bess because at this moment she knows what is right and decides to do what is right, even though it would jeopardize her new status as a second-class passenger and her relationship with Jinju. On the other hand, Melanie's sadistic action of torturing Josie is clearly antithetical to his core values, even though her decision is for the benefit of the train and the balance she's so meticulously trying to maintain. Which brings us to number 4.
People seem to think that those in power answer to no one. They're free to do as they choose. It couldn't be further from the truth. The person in power answers to everyone. I make choices. Not because I want to, but because everyone demands it. The train demands it.
Unless, of course, one is a dictator or is a sociopath, then this quote would have been irrelevant. But as Melanie said, she inherited a world that is engineered by Mr. Wilford, and if it was her own way, she would have created it differently. The whole system was designed which favors the rich and somewhat authoritarian. Even Ruth believes that they don't have any will, they just have order. Melanie believed that balance should be maintained in order for the continued survival of the passengers. That is why she did the things she did. Number 5.
Democracy used to work. Sometimes you have to lose something to find it again.
A metaphor for real-life issue about leadership and governance. The third in the Tailies, which is supposedly 70% of the population of the Snowpiercer, overthrew the authoritarian regime through force, and they are in the process of installing a representative democratic government, which is kind of messy at this point. But to Melanie, the gradual loss of her humanity by ill-treating Tailies and torturing Josie made her realize that the system in Snowpiercer must change, and her surrendering leadership and governance to Mr. Layton allowed her to find her humanity and soul. Now with the appearance of Big Alice, another Wolford train that is governed by a different regime, I think that clash between the two will be very interesting to see in Season 2. That is all for this video. Thank you guys for watching and see you guys next time. Bye!